One. And we are on the air live.
All right, we are live. How do I find us on YouTube?
Oh, here, man. I'll give you the link.
It should. Oh, well, I'm on our channel. Shouldn't it come up and say like something like, "Oh, live now"? Never mind, I got it.
There you are.
Okay, there you go.
Hey, look at us.
Hey, how's everybody doing today?
Good. How you doing?
Wonderful.
Hanging out, looking cool. Mostly hanging out, though.
Yeah, not looking cool at all here.
Yeah, I'm not looking real cool.
I don't look cool.
You got the coolest headset, Dan.
Vintage.
Doesn't he look like who was the like Lando Cal? It was in Cloud City Star Wars. Lando Calrissian had the bald guy. He looks exactly like that dude.
Yeah. He doesn't even have a name in Star Wars. That's how cool
He doesn't. Yeah, right. Exactly.
But
you know who I'm talking about.
You have the same headset, though, so that's cool.
Yeah. Pay extra for that.
Picking this up.
It's always the upside.
All right, guys.
Images. Oh yeah, there he is.
We got 4 watching right now, and I'd say 3 out of the 4 of us are in this room.
Sweet. We're looking good.
Actually, it looks like Cyborg and Bob McCarthy's watching.
Hey, what's up, fellas?
So, what's up, guys?
And the messages keep flying in.
Yes, they do.
Yep.
Oh, there's...
There he is.
Spot on.
I know, right?
He just needs a gray shirt.
That's about it.
That's hilarious.
Poor Dan.
We will, Double A.
He gets roped into doing the podcast, and he gets insulted
That's right.
for his headgear.
Nice.
Oh my god.
Why is everybody always picking on me?
I don't know.
Easy to pick on.
That's
You
why I
pick
always
back,
ask.
it's all
That's why I asked you if you were in a bad mood when I saw you at Flite Test, because I was afraid you were going to hit me or something for all the picking on you that I've done.
Nah.
Okay, Pat, why don't you go ahead and introduce us?
Okay.
This is
so
episode 35. So,
okay, episode 30. Really, we're up to 35 already. Wow.
Yep.
Check us out. Hey, everybody! Welcome to episode 35.
Episode 5. I heard it.
Okay, what is your
Your
first edit point? Just mark this down, Mike, and then it will start over again. Edit that right out. It's easy. Joel does it all the time. Hey, everybody! Welcome to episode 35 of the Flite Test Community Cast. Tonight we have guests: Kevin Matusik, Todd Litke, and Dan Sponholtz. Oh, I'm sorry, Sponsholtz.
Sponsholtz, yes.
Thank you, Dan. Yeah,
Good job.
you, buddy. Anyway, they are here tonight to talk about something that I've been excited about for a long time. They have been developing a do-it-yourself CNC cutter called the Rascal, and from what I understand, guys, am I correct about this? You guys are getting really close to releasing this?
Yes.
Awesome.
Yep.
Yeah, you even have a logo.
We do.
Show the logo.
Yeah,
Cue the
well,
logo.
cue the logo. There you go.
Logo.
And once you have the logo, everything's pretty much done.
That's right.
So, I kind of, Mike, we haven't talked about this beforehand. I know we usually do, though. What have you been up to in RC recently? Joel, oh, by the way, Joel is not joining us tonight. Joel is, he's at some kind of Halloween costume party at Disney or something. So anyway, hopefully he'll be back with us next time. But Mike, can we just get into the discussion of this thing instead of like me saying I haven't really been doing anything RC related for the last couple of
Yes, I think we should just skip right over it unless either Kevin or Todd wants to talk about how they got an RC or something. If not, I say we get right into it.
We'll get there. We'll get to. I've got questions. I've got a list. Look at this. Boom, boom.
Wow.
Yeah.
He's got a list. Ooh,
I've got a
I'm scared.
A list.
All right. We call this the interrogation.
Ah, great.
Rank and serial number.
So I'm really glad you guys were willing to come on to our podcast. I think this is going to be a bit of a buzz coming up here when you guys get this thing out. I know I've been looking around trying to figure out, do I really want to build one of these things or not? And the decision I made for myself was, no, you're an idiot. Don't even try it. But, I'm hoping that you guys are coming up with something that even an idiot like me can do this.
Or me.
So, or even Mike. I mean, we're going to talk idiots. I mean, come on.
Yeah, if you're going to talk about idiots, I mean, we might as well talk about the big one.
So, before we get into the specifics of the cutter, the CNC machine, what are your backgrounds, Kevin? Like, where do you come? What do you do for a living? What is your background? How did you get into the RC hobby? I'm just wrapping a whole bunch of stuff and throwing it at you.
I am a West Virginia coal miner.
Okay. Wow. Really?
Yep. When I was about 13 years old, my dad, who was also a coal miner, used to work with a fellow who was also a coal miner, who had his own racetrack, and he used to race 10-scale RC cars on it. And this would have been 86, back when RC was still pretty new. You know what I mean? He got me out there, and before you know it, I had a grasshopper, an old Tamiya grasshopper, right, vintage. And they had classes for the little kids. You know what I mean? You go out there and bang around and turn marshal and stuff. And the following year, I ended up with an RC10 graphite, champion edition car, which then was cutting edge. You know what I mean? Matter of fact, I think I still have that car here somewhere. And that I did that until I graduated high school, and spent a lot of money doing it, because you never seen nothing like a bunch of grown men trying to race over nothing and cheat and lie and steal until you've been in the RC race car community. There's no trophies. There's just bragging rights, and they will cry, cheat, and steal. But then I went to college and didn't have the money or the time to do that anymore, and that fell away. And I actually I went to college for avionics, have a degree in avionics. I have an associate's in electronics and our secondary associate in electronics and associates in avionics. And then when my son turned about 8, he saw the cars, because I still had them, and he wanted to get into that. So we got back into the race circuit. And we did that for another 4 or 5 years, and then I got into airplanes.
Cool. What was your introduction to RC airplanes?
I probably should have it up right now, but I can't. Daniel out in Utah. It's not Flight Test. It's RC Flight Type. Hold on. I'll just find it.
Is it RC Powers?
No. No. RC Test Flight.
Oh, that okay.
Daniel, yeah. He had the slow trainer back in the day.
Okay.
And if you look behind me, I still fly a variation of that plane. It was a 40-inch under cambered wing profile plane that honestly just flies great.
Awesome.
And I got introduced into that, and I think I built one, and I think I flew it 4 or 5 times. And as you do, you get too aggressive too fast.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I folded the wings on it, and I think I was at that point, I was just so tired of crashing and fed up, I gave up.
Okay.
Until the following spring, and I got started again. And then about that time, Flight Test came along, and got watching those guys and learning their techniques and how to do their stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Just mushroomed.
Cool. Now, so as you have formal education in electronics and avionics, so that kind of probably gives you a leg up on, understanding CNC and all that nonsense that I don't understand, and then so was it just like this desire out of like, okay, now we can build things out of foam board, but it sucks to cut them by hand, which it really does.
Well, and I think
where did this idea come from?
I think I can speak for Todd here. I mean, I was where all you guys who are drooling over this machine now are. I mean, I got to print out another thing. I got to tape it all together, and I got to transfer the lines, and I got to cut it all out, and it takes forever to build a plane. And we were listening to the Crash Cast, right, Todd?
Yep, that was Crash Cast.
And those guys talk about CNC all the time. They've been doing it for years, and they got different variations of machines. And now Lane's planes, he's got a big blown laser he cuts a bunch of stuff with. But they never tackled Dollar Tree foam board. They were cutting like blue fan fold and 1-inch construction foam, stuff like that.
Right.
And Dollar Tree foam board has its own unique problems because of the paper that's on both sides of it.
Okay.
They just changed the formulation. What, 6 months ago, Todd? The foam, it's different. It's different now. And the stuff that they make now mills like butter. I mean,
oh really?
It's not even hard. I mean, it just happens. The old stuff was a pain to mill because the paper.
Are you
real
talking
fibrous.
about the white versus the waterproof?
No, yeah, the original white Dollar Tree foam board.
Okay.
The paper was real fibrous on it, and it would stick to the bit, and then the bit would instead of cutting, it would start burning through the plastic, and then the plastic would glob onto the bit, and then you're trying to cut with a globbed bit of hot plastic, and it just never ended well.
Okay.
No cutter to the bit at all. It was just all bound up with paper. It was a real pain in the butt.
You'd have to babysit it the whole time you cut.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
it was.
I don't want to get a step on Todd here a little bit, but back and forth working together. I actually met Todd on one of the forums. We bumped into each other or something.
We bumped into each other. It was I think it was a forum, or maybe it was the Crashcast Facebook page.
Maybe
that might have been what it was, and then we just started kind of talking back and forth, and we really wanted to solve this and get it figured out because I was in the same boat as Kevin. I wanted to be able to produce airplanes for just the clubs around here locally around me. They're out flying combat planes, and they're trying to put electrics on things, and it just was a big time failure. So, the Bloody Wonder was the first one I flew from flight test, and I loved it. And I started wrapping a ribbon on it, and I started going around and chasing around all the guys up in the air with the nitro planes. And it was a lot of fun. It really was a lot of fun. And I wanted to produce these make these things repeatable for the guys in the club and get them involved in it too. And the CNC was the way to do it. And I got tired of, like Kevin said, printing stuff out and making little templates out of poster board and tracing it out and then having to go through and cut it. And it was a pain in the rump. Now it's kind of nice. Yeah. You want to go ahead and make a kit. It takes you 15, maybe 20 minutes to go ahead and cut one out, and you're pretty much all good to go.
Now you're talking my language. Yeah. It's amazing because, like, if we would go back 20 years, think about building an airplane. I mean, this is a months-long process.
Yeah.
Right? And a Balsa. I mean, especially if you're doing a true builder's kit where you freaking cut the Balsa out of templates, every single bulkhead and rib and all of that. Now we're building them out of foam board, and we just can't be bothered with printing out sheets and taping them together.
I'll give you an idea.
It's just ridiculous.
I'll give you an idea. Nerd Nick has got a trainer that he's working on. And he gave me the plans. I blew him up 130%, and 4 hours later was flying that plane.
That's awesome.
That's yeah.
They're after building so many foam board airplanes, the thought of taping plans together, cutting them out as templates, and then cutting the foam board it just is almost demoralizing at this point. I just want to build the stupid thing. I don't want to do a paper project, you know. I don't want taping plans together it's awful at this point.
And I laugh at that because I've been flying for over 30 years. So I got a lot of time in. So I've spent my time building kits, and I've done a lot of scratch building and everything like that. And yeah, I chuckle at the whole thing, you know, the whole process of, you know, oh, I don't want to cut it. I don't want to cut the foam out. I mean, it's going to take me till the end of the day to have a plane to be able to fly. It's like, end of the day. Are you kidding me?
No, I just want to fold it, glue it together, and fly it. I don't want to be bothered by the rest.
Right.
And that's the truth. At this point, I built so many.
Cut it, build it, fly it.
Even the ones that I design, especially the ones that I design, if I'm going back and making changes, I don't want to have to cut everything again. So I am so excited to potentially have something that I can just, you know, throw what I have in a computer in there and then I can fold it and fly it.
It's a vicious cycle, though. I mean, it becomes so easy to build airplanes that you won't fix an airplane.
Well, you just build a new one.
you'll crash it, and at the end of the day, you'll take it back to the house and you look at it and you'll say, you know, I think I want a little more angle in the motor anyway, and you'll throw it to the side. You'll go to the computer and you'll put 3 more degrees into the angle of the motor, and in 25 minutes, you'll have all the parts and pieces, and you'll glue it together, and you'll have a whole nother airplane.
It takes 25 whole minutes.
It depends. So I know. I try to make it faster. With the new phone, we could probably do it faster. I still make 2 passes when I just because I like the way it leaves the edges. But
habit.
Okay. Yeah, it's a habit. And with the new stuff, we could probably do it in 1 pass.
Mm-hmm.
Some sheets, like when I cut a Raiden, some of the sheets are more complicated than the others because there's so much more stuff on them. And a sheet will usually take 15 to 20 minutes to cut out, and the Raiden's 4 sheets. So inside of an hour and 10 minutes, I can have all the parts and pieces to build a Raiden.
Okay, that's awesome.
Wow,
makes it nice.
So now, Todd.
Yeah.
What's your background, and how did you? What do you bring to the CNC table? This whole thing.
Let's see. I'll start with what I do for a living. I'm a robot programmer, and automation engineer. I do all that stuff. I'm a machine builder anyway from word go. Now I don't have any formal education. My education's all on the job, and it's all learning and smarts, I guess you could probably say. I started flying model airplanes. It was back in the mid '80s. I started flying, and like it was just right around the turn from the AM radios to the FM radios is when I started flying. So I started with the radio controlled cars, like Kevin. I started with the radio controlled cars. Kevin, you might remember like the old Tyco turbo hoppers.
No, yeah. Actually, that was my first car.
Was that your first car, the turbo hopper? Yeah, that's what I had.
We put NiCads in it. That was a big deal.
Yep. And that's where I started. So I started with RC cars. My dad at the time, he was learning how to fly full-scale planes. And so I was going and doing some airtime with him, and I learned how to fly, real airplanes there. And then I'm like, well, I want to get into doing model airplanes, Dad. So, and that's exactly what I started doing. It was probably no more than a year that I said that. I got my first RC Modeler magazine, and my nose was glued into that. And actually, I still have that first RC Modeler magazine sitting in my bedroom in the trunk.
That's awesome.
But I started off flying and at a really young age, and I really enjoyed it, and I learned a lot from it. But then I started to get into doing. I wanted to start to design airplanes. I wanted to make my own stuff, so I was going out and I was buying planks of balsa wood from the corner hobby shop and cutting things out and putting things together. And that's where everything really started to get into the scratch building. And what happens if I change this? What happens if I change that?
Mm-hmm.
And then I got into doing giant scales, and that was an entirely different story. You realize you got a problem when you got two $7,000 airplanes, and you're looking at a $6,000 trailer to haul everything around.
Yep.
That's you're like, all right, you know what? I have a problem, and I need to handle this, get it taken care of. So I stopped flying for a little while, just going through a bunch of family stuff, and when I started to get back into it, one of the guys in the club, one of the guys that actually taught me how to fly back in the day, said, you need to check out Flite Test. And I was kind of like, yeah. And he had the Bloody Wonder, and he was taking off vertically. You know, he'd set it on the tail and take off vertically, and I thought it was the coolest thing in the world. So I started looking, and my son was starting to fly at the time, and I built the Bloody Wonder, and it was perfect to throw him on to go out there and have some fun with. And yeah, you know, the rest is history. I did. I wanted to produce planes. I wanted to make planes for everyone else. I kept telling them, yeah, go to the Flite Test website and download the plans and build it yourself. And you know, everybody's like we already talked about. Everybody's a little bit lazy and doesn't want to go through and print everything out and tape everything together.
Right.
So I'm like, well, I can go ahead and actually cut it out for you by hand. And I spent a lot of time cutting stuff out by hand and selling it off to people. And I'm like, there's got to be an easier way. And I started looking at the Flatboys CNC. I started looking at that, and I wanted to do that. And I let it sit for probably about 6 months, and all of a sudden the Ox CNC came out, and I'm like, that's it. That's me. I'm in. So I started buying parts little bit by little bit. And that's probably the best thing I could probably even suggest to anyone that wants to get into doing any type of CNC work.
Definitely.
Or, you know, build it in their own. You know, go out 1 week, go ahead and buy yourself the rails. Next week, go on out and buy yourself the wood. You can start cutting the wood, working on the wood. Next week, go on out and buy the motors, and you get to the point to where you won't even feel it. You won't even know that it even bothers you at all. You know,
I built my machine over the course of a year.
Okay.
Yep, I built mine over a course of 4 months. Is what it is, 4 months. So it's to try to get it all done in one big chunk, I think, is a little bit overwhelming. I think when you start doing things piece by piece, I think that's where things kind of it becomes a little bit, you understand it a little bit more, because you're not like, you know, oh, I can build this piece, oh, I can build this piece, oh, I can build this piece, and you know, you're not really paying attention to what's going on. Instead, you sit there and make sure everything's right, true, and put together properly, which, you know, I think everybody should do anyway when they go ahead and build a CNC. Anyway, that's me and my background a little bit, and the flying background. So I got a lot of time flying, and I'm just a nerd anyway. So I like to build things. I got a 3D printer. I got all that stuff too. So it's Kevin and I always had said that the CNC hobby is a hobby within a hobby, because you're flying model airplanes, and now all of a sudden we got CNC. Now all of a sudden I'm making stuff out of wood, little sign stuff out of wood for fun, and I make extra money with it too, with doing sign work and just cutting stuff for people, engraving things for them. It's a good thing. It's a lot of fun. I enjoy it.
Awesome.
And
cool.
That's what I'm tied up into right now. I'm making football helmets for football moms.
Oh, okay.
For the kids, cool. Yeah, that's cool.
Helmets and footballs with their name and their number and stuff on it.
Nice.
Yeah, that's cool.
So, where did the idea of the Rascal come from? I mean, were you shooting for, we want to develop something that anybody can build, or we want to develop something sub X amount of money, or how did it come about?
Todd actually came up with the name. Todd pulled that out of the air. I don't know how he came up with that, but that's actually Todd's.
It's out of nowhere. Literally, it was out of nowhere.
Yep.
We talk a lot. I've only met Todd face to face once.
Yeah.
It was a Flite Test 16.
Yep, 16.
Okay. For a week.
Yep.
But other than that, we talk 5-6 times a week.
Now, were you guys set up there cutting foam?
And 16.
Yeah.
Yep. 16. Yeah. Kevin, what do you think we cut as far as planes? I mean, we had people bringing us foam, and it was a lot of fun. First of all, for me, it was a great test for my CNC machine, because I wanted to see what the thing can do.
And it ran 5 days straight.
Yeah, we ran 5 days straight. Didn't have any issues or any problems. It ran good. So it's, I was happy. It's a really reliable machine. But we had to cut, what, probably 150 planes?
Yeah, between the two of us, yeah.
between two of us, 150 planes for people,
Well,
and
I have 2 of them in my basement. I've got 2 of the slow boats that you cut from my buddy Blake Ziegler, sitting waiting to be built.
I still
thank you.
one also. He gave me one. He said, since you come all out here, have this. And I said, well, thank you. And then it's still sitting waiting to be built.
Yes. Yeah. No, it's a very clean cut. It's, I mean, out of Depron, it did a nice job.
Yeah.
So
So that being said, Dollar Tree foam board is just the start of it. I mean, you can cut so many things. You can cut Depron and fanfold foam and plywood and MDF and acrylic and HDPE, and I mean the list goes on.
Can you cut thin sheet balsa?
Yes,
absolutely.
Cool.
Carbon fiber?
Not with a Rascal.
Okay.
And I'll tell you why, because the beam is too long.
Okay.
There's too much flex in that length to cut something that rigid.
Okay.
Now, if you want to, after this whole thing blows, you want to make a small version of the Rascal, all the parts and pieces would fit, everything would work. The only difference would be the beams would be shorter.
Makes sense.
And you could cut carbon fiber with that.
Cool.
That'd be the little Rascal.
This is This is HDPE. This is a sheet of HDPE. This is a clone of the HMB.
Okay.
I literally just got online and found all the measurements and chalked it up.
That's cool, man. And is HDPE what they build the HMB out of?
Yep.
This is a tricopter out of HDPE.
Very large try.
Sweet.
See, that's the beautiful thing about this, guys, is once you have a machine that you can go ahead, once you understand how to program it and how to make it work. So, Patrick, you're going to have to learn a little bit of software on, the design end of things, and then you're going to have to learn how to program.
I'm good with CAD. I can do AutoCAD all day long.
Then you get half the battle. There. Half the battle's done, brother. Half the battle's done. The rest of it's going to be actually learning how to program a CNC. The nice thing is there's a lot of software out there that is already available that you just go ahead and point and click. And I need an outside cut, inside cut. I need a hole here. I need a hole there.
And there is
you basically set your zero. Yep. And then you can go ahead and press play, and you're off and cutting.
Awesome.
So it's simple. It's simple. And you laugh about the little Rascal comment. We've talked about the little Rascal. That's something that Kevin and I and Dan and Nerd Nick have talked about. We've all talked about the possibility of a little Rascal.
Right. We should mention that Nerd Nick is Nick Lechner. He's also helping you guys in the development of this.
Yes.
So shout out to Nick, who's been around in the community pretty prominently for a few years now. Now, speaking of people, how did you come across Dan, and how did you get him involved? Because he's kind of a busy guy. I'm just wondering how you guys enticed him into this.
Because when Flite Test releases a set of plans, you get the plans that are designed to print and tape together and lay out and cut.
Yep.
And Dan does a really nice job of putting those plans together.
Yes, he does.
They are nowhere near CNC friendly at all.
Okay.
Because with all the hash marking and all the extra lines and the colors that he puts in to make it, easier to cut, that is a distraction when you're trying to program it for a CNC machine.
Right.
So we found ourselves going to Dan, saying, "Hey Dan, is there any way you can get us the original DXFs so we can program these planes and fly them ourselves?" And he's and rightly so. He said, "Let me talk to Josh first and make sure that's okay," because he didn't want to step on anybody's toes. So he went to Josh, and Josh said, "Yeah, that's fine." So Dan has been hooking us up with plans back and forth, and we actually have a messenger group. It's just the 4 of us.
Mm-hmm.
This is for how long, Todd?
Oh, that's over a year, I think. Got to be over a year.
And we're back and forth with different ideas and how you doing. Look at this, and I'm working on this, and and different stuff. And it was only natural that when Todd and I decided to do the Rascal, that we brought those guys on board. Because they're like you, they want a CNC machine also.
Yeah, we all do.
And you know, being that the group of people that we are in it for the long haul. You know, we are in it for the community. We're not in it for ourselves or to make money. You know, when you look at the building materials for the Rascal, you're going to find out in a hurry that it's as cheap as I can build it.
Okay.
With a degree of quality, right? Because when Todd and I have talked about this a lot, how cheap can you make a CNC machine? Well, you can get online and you can see where someone's taking apart 2 Blu-ray players, and they're using the slides and glides, and they're building for like $16, right? Is that something you really want to cut airplanes out with?
Probably not.
You know what I mean? You know, so there's a degree of quality, something that I want people that when they have this machine, it's not going to just fall apart on them, right?
Right.
And it's something that's made out of good quality components that are, you know, tested and proven over the long haul. People have been using it for a long time, you know, but at the same time, and I hate to say be un-American about this, but you can buy a lot of stuff from, you know, eBay and China and Hong Kong and AliExpress and dirt cheap.
Right.
You know what I mean? And at the end of the day, my dollar means the same to me as it does everybody else, right?
Right.
So, you know, as long as the shipping is, you know, equal and the apples are apples and the oranges are oranges, you know, everything is great. And that's one of the things that we want to convey as the Rascal takes off. You know, we're going to present a list of build materials and all the links that we bought them from. But that's a living list. It's a live living list. There's nothing to say that somebody, you know, Joe Schmo out in Utah is building one of these machines. He says, "Hey, I found this item for $10 cheaper than you guys have found it." You know, well, Joe Schmo, by all means, should give us the link. You know, we'll update the list, and that'll be the new go-to place to buy this. You know what I mean?
Right. So, let me ask: are you developing something that you are going to sell? And if so, what exactly are you selling?
We're not. The only thing that I'll be selling, and I think Todd hasn't committed to this yet. I'll be selling the wooden plates.
That's it, huh?
I'll be hopping in and doing the wood stuff too. I'll be cutting with my CNC machine as well. So
now, okay. How long has this thing been in development?
A year.
Yeah, you want to know what, Kevin? I think it's a little bit more than a year.
It's longer than a year.
Yeah, because we talked about Flite Fest 16.
Fred Provost has been throwing little jabs at you guys every chance he gets, and it's been longer than a year that he's been doing that.
Yeah.
We love Fred.
Give it to me for free. I'll test it out for you. I'll help promote it.
Right.
Free.
I'll tell people it's pretty
mine done
good.
yet?
Right? Is that mine?
So you guys have been developing this thing for over a year now. You're not really selling anything, which is fantastic on your end, but also, you know, wow, you guys, I think you guys would have something that would be somewhat marketable here, and you could make a little bit of money off of, I think. But the fact that you're just willing to do all this work and then give it away is fantastic of you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I think the thing here is this is what Kevin and I wanted. We wanted it for the community, right? I know I want to see what people can do with it. I want to see you use it, design, build, and I want to see you fly it. It's just like our little phrase we got on the logo. You know, we want you to be able to design it, build it, and fly it. Tell you the truth, I want to see what you can design, so I can go ahead and try to fly it too at some point in time. Just because I want to see what different what you guys can make different. I want to see what can be done. Not only for the CNC machine itself, what kind of add-ons you can add on to it, what can be developed there on the CNC machine, but also for the foam and for the flying. And you know what, guys, this can really go well beyond, hey, I want to go ahead and build an airplane. You know what? Halloween's coming up. You'd be amazed what you can go ahead and actually design up in the computer, cut it out a Dollar Tree foam board, glue it together, for Halloween and for Christmas and for whatever holiday you want that's coming up. And I did a company, the logo for one of my buddy's companies. I made it out of the Dollar Tree foam board. I lit it up.
Cool.
And I just glued it together. He's got it sitting above his desk, and he absolutely loves it. Everybody at his work drools over it. So there's a lot that can be done with this machine, and a lot done just in general, and a lot that can be made down the road. I mean, a lot of stuff that can come up later on down the road for everyone. So it's a part of the hobby that I know that I enjoy. I know Kevin enjoys it too. It's all sorts of fun. I mean, look what Kevin's got there.
What do you got there, Kevin?
Just a little FPV caddy.
Oh, cool.
Oh, look at that. Here, hang on a minute. Let's get you.
That is cool.
And you can, it's just, I designed this up in 15 minutes and had it cut out in another 15. That's the beauty of, and the 3D printer is the same kind of thing. If you can dream it, you can build it. You know what I mean? And Todd and I were sitting around one day talking about, and at that point we had it figured out. We were cutting out airplanes, and it got to be a very repeatable process. And I was designing my own stuff, and Todd was doing his thing, and we're still back and forth talking, this, that, and the other. And at some point, I can't remember if he told me or I told him, hey, you know what? This is so great. Wouldn't it be great if everybody could do this? If everybody had this ability to just cut at will.
Awesome.
Cut at will. So we got talking about a machine and how cheap could you build a machine, and not how cheap, but how cheap could you build a machine that was a quality, hobby grade machine. And I can't stress that enough. You can build them a lot cheaper than the Rascal is going to be. They're by no means. You can take all kinds of shortcuts and build a machine cheaper than the Rascal is going to be. But for the money, you can't build a machine cheaper than the Rascal is going to be for quality.
Well,
it's extruded aluminum rails. It's steel V bearings. It's NEMA 23 and NEMA 17 stepper motors. It's stainless steel pulleys and belt cogs. I can't build it any cheaper than the Rascal is going to be. And like I said, hopefully, we get this thing running and people start sourcing parts from different places. And because truly, I'm an industrial electrician. I work in a coal mine. I don't have the exposure that other people have to different industries and different items. Maybe, maybe somebody else can source something cheaper, better, or maybe redesign something. Maybe we can come up with, right now we'll be using a power supply that's 48 volts and or 12 or 24 volts. Maybe somebody can find a multi-tap power supply that does the job at once. I don't know that,
Okay.
And Todd and I are excited to see what happens. Boom, here it is. Here it is.
Well, speaking of it, can you give us some specs on the machine? Like what cutting size are we talking about? Just give us an idea of what we're looking at here.
It's going to have a cutting bed roughly 32 by 32, give or take.
Okay.
So you'll be able to cut a sheet of foam, either way. And the reason we went that size is the beam that there's no secrets. We're buying the C beams or extruded aluminum beams from open builds.
Okay.
The same people who sell the aux, and that those beams come in 1 meter lengths.
Okay.
And it was just easy just to buy 3 1 meter beams and make a machine a meter square.
And that's a good sized machine.
So it's big enough to cut Dollar Tree foam board. It's big enough to cut big sheets of HDPE. It's big enough to cut what's the boat, the plane that you told me,
the slow boat. Depron.
It's big. You can cut big sheets of Depron with it. You can cut big sheets of fanfold with it. I've got sheets of Elmer's board here that's 3 foot by 3 feet square. You can cut that with it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's big enough to cut big things.
We wanted it to be more than just a foam cutting machine. We wanted it to be. We wanted you guys to be able to slap on a piece of plywood and cut out motor mounts. Right? That's what we wanted you guys to be able to do. So to be able to have that flexibility, it makes the machine more versatile and more useful to you, that's going to be able to run that thing. Because last thing I want is you guys to be able to sit there and say, you know, man, I got this foam cutting machine. I wish I could go ahead and cut this sheet of plywood. I wish I could do this, and I wish I could do that. So we made sure that we made it large enough. And one of the things that we're also going to have that's going to be out there for you guys too, that we're going to have plans for, is we're going to be developing. I'm in the process right now working on a vacuum table that is just made out of 1-inch 1-inch foam insulation.
Construction foam.
Yeah, just construction foam is all that it is. So you guys will be able to hook a vacuum cleaner up to it, and I nothing special. I'm using a $5 vacuum cleaner I got from a garage sale that I used to create the vacuum on my table, and I've been using it now for the past couple years, and it works just fine. And you know, I'm worried about my dollar bill too, just like everyone else. So you know, we're going to go ahead and do it cheap, but that's all things that are going to be shared with the community as well.
Very nice, very nice. Yeah, I use my shop vac.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that.
No, shop vac works beautiful.
Great.
Yeah,
absolutely.
You'll run into the place where you won't want to take your vacuum table apart to use your shop vac.
Right. Yeah, that could be a problem.
So you'll go to the Goodwill or a yard sale, or you'll rescue an old vacuum cleaner out of a dumpster somewhere. Because all you want is the suck part. You don't care about the rest of it.
It's right.
The one I have is, you see, my wife's old vacuum cleaner that she threw in the basement, and I literally cut the top of it and cut the bottom of it off, and I was just concerned with the motor and suction parts. And I hot glued the hose to the top of it, and it now I have muffled mine, because the thing you're going to run into when you start doing this is sound. You know, run a vacuum cleaner for 4 hours.
Oof.
Right? So I built a plywood box, half-inch plywood box, and put regular fiberglass insulation inside of it, and made an enclosure to put this in. Now I had to put a couple computer fans in it to pull the heat out of it, because whenever you use a vacuum for that, you're basically deadheading the vacuum. It's not sucking any air.
Yep.
It's just creating the vacuum, holding it. So it has no air to cool it. It creates a lot of heat. So you got to pull that heat out of that box. But my box now, when the machine, you can stand next to the CNC machine cutting a sheet of foam, and you'll hear the stepper motors running, and you'll hear the slight hum of the vacuum table. You won't hear the spindle, but you can stand next to it and carry a conversation on like this.
Oh, that's fantastic.
So, what kind of cost are we looking at here to build this thing?
Right now, we're looking at about $475.
That's good.
Now there's going to be some shipping that we haven't included. A lot of the items you're going to buy are shipping included.
Okay.
But some of the items, like the open build stuff, there's going to be some shipping involved. The stepper motors, there's going to be some shipping involved. I haven't worked the shipping up yet. Todd, have you any idea where that shipping is?
No, I don't know what the shipping cost is at the moment.
I throw a number out there. It's going to be between $45 and $60 in shipping, probably.
Okay.
That's probably about fair.
Because some of these items are big, right? Like the meter-long beams that come in the mail, right?
Right.
They don't ship those for free. You know what I mean?
Right.
So for about $475, you're going to have to build a CNC machine that you're going to buy a bunch of parts is what you're going to do.
Okay. Now, what kind of knowledge, background, or skill level do you think somebody will need to assemble this thing?
If you can put together a foam airplane, you can put together one of these CNC machines.
All right, I'm in then.
We've actually worked quite hard to make sure that we try to keep it as simple as possible, so you don't have to have any big time tools or anything, or grinders, or having to do anything like that to be able to make some of the parts that need to be made. Go ahead, Dan. Nick's
going to be doing a build video for the community for the Rascal, so kind of in the style of his build videos, you'll be able to follow along and watch the video to do that. And one of the reasons that I came on board to help out with the project is I'm basically going to be going through and 3D modeling the entire machine, and then putting together exploded assembly views and assembly instructions, like 2D assembly instruction views and stuff, to kind of help with the assembly of the machine then too.
Wow. That's fantastic. So you're going to have a build video and an instruction manual of sorts.
Right. The manual is probably going to follow after the release because, you know, I've got a few other things on my plate, as you may well know.
I can't imagine you're that busy at all, Dan.
He is slacker.
Right. So, I mean, that's going to follow the release, but it will follow. We will have a manual that you can follow along and, you know, look at the assembly instructions and the pretty pictures and try and put the machine together that way too, which should kind of be an aid or a guide to help along with the video to help people put these things together.
Awesome.
Yep.
So correct me if I'm wrong, Dan, but you'll have every bolt and every spacer and every washer and every nut as it slides through the machine, right?
That is the plan. Yep. Fully assembled, full 3D model.
So without the video, you should be able to put it together with your
correct.
exploded.
Yep. That's the goal.
So Dan's doing the directions.
Mm-hmm.
Nick is going to do a build video. I'll be doing complimentary videos for the electrics involved, setting up the drivers and the control boards and the wiring and all the other, and that'll get your machine built, and you'll have a machine. And that's not where it ends. We never want to leave somebody there. So, okay, I've got a CNC machine. Now what do I do, right? To follow that will be videos about SketchUp and Sketchy Cam. There'll be videos about Todd will do the vacuum table and different attachments. You know, and this is how you run the machine, right? This is how you find zero, and this is how you place an item. And because it's not hard by any means, it's just something that people don't know anything about because they're not exposed to it.
Well, it's intimidating to me for that very reason. I mean, the assembling of it doesn't bother me a bit. It's okay now that I have it assembled. What the heck am I going to do with it, and how do I make my CAD drawing talk? You know, how do I get that into the rotor head cutting something? I have no idea.
Well, we're going to help everybody but you, Pat.
Well, that's part of the course. I tell you what, Kevin and Todd, just message me your personal cell phone number so I can call you.
Right.
Oh, I didn't hear. Did he say something there? I didn't quite hear him quite well. Did he come through with you guys?
Yeah, is this thing on?
Yeah, right. No, but our goal is our goal is to be here for the long haul. We don't want to leave anybody hanging. Originally the goal is for a 14-year-old kid who's interested in the hobby could save up money from birthdays or Christmases, or maybe he's got a grandparent that's willing to fund this venture, could build one of these machines in his basement or his rec room or whatever, and learn to use it. And this I don't want to say I'm involved with FT STEM because I'm not, but this is kind of in that same neighborhood.
Oh, absolutely,
right?
it is.
Yep.
We want young people, and we want old people. We want all people to be able to learn and create and use this as a tool. We have kicked around the idea, and I'm not sure of the details or how it's going to work, of a G-code library, right? Which means Flite Test released the Aardvark, right? Some crazy new plane, right? The day it released, there's G-code available.
Wow.
Right? So you load the G-code in your machine, you load a sheet of foam, and you push play. And
well, that'll be Dan's job.
20 minutes later, you got an Aardvark that you have to glue together, right?
Okay, now hopefully Josh Bixler's listening so he can start developing that Aardvark so we can get that out there.
Right?
I want one. I hope it sucks up.
It sounds really cool. I think I want one too.
Well,
now
that's long-term goal.
Yep.
And I want to say thanks, guys, for thinking of the community, because that's one of the reasons why we even do the show is to try to bring something back to the community. And here we are. I think bringing you guys something, you guys bringing something to the community that that a lot of people will use and not cost a ton of money and be able to get other people in the hobby as well. And I think that's what we all want to do. So congratulations to you guys for doing something that's really, to me, given a lot to the hobby. So
Thank you.
Yeah, really. I'm I can't tell you how excited I am for this because, you know, I've thought about, you know, going about and figuring out how to build one of these by myself one, you know, someday. And I think I could get it done, but it'd be miserable. And
have you looked at the competition?
Not really. No, I haven't.
Todd, what's a foam casualty machine cost these days?
What was that? It was what was this little 4,500?
Yeah.
Oh,
Was that what it was? Was it 4,500 for?
God, so you guys are like at the 10th of the cost.
I don't pay that much for cars.
Trust me, I can vouch for that.
What's an X carb cost? Like $1,200, $1,500?
Yeah, right around 1,500. Yeah.
What's a full blown aux? $9 or $1,000?
You're going to be right around $1,300, $1,400 to build it. I think my machine. Now, mind you, I used to work for a machine shop, so I had all my aluminum pieces already on machine for me. But you know, it was right around $800-900 to make mine.
Okay.
Let me see.
Well, I've got a Gatton machine, and I've probably got 12 or 13 of mine when I put it together. So to do what we want a CNC machine to do for the hobby, this is, like I said, good luck trying to beat me.
Right.
Cool. I hope someone can build it cheaper than I did. I really do.
Nice.
I say this with regret because I'm not there yet. Matter of fact, we just went through a major change to upgrade the motors on the Rascal from NEMA 17s and NEMA 23s because it didn't have enough torque. I want the Rascal to be self-replicating. Now, what does that mean? It means you put together a Rascal and you buy the plates from me or Todd, it doesn't matter. Or somebody else. The plans are going to be out there. You know somebody's got a CNC machine that would be happy to cut the plates for you? By all means, let them cut the plate. I'm not in it for the money. Matter of fact, I'm probably going to have so much that I'm going to be asking people to cut plates.
Yep.
You put together a Rascal. Your buddy wants to build a Rascal. You should be able to cut his plates on your Rascal.
Okay.
Awesome.
Oh, yeah, did you mention that already too? That the plans for all the wood parts, all the proprietary designed parts for this machine, the plans will be out there for free for anybody to download and cut their own.
Yeah, you can print them out and put them, you know, tape them to a piece of plywood and use a reciprocating saw and go ahead and cut out what you need to cut out. Drill some holes, and you can do it all by hand if you want to. You're going to be buying a piece of plywood anyway because you're going to have to. You got the bed. It's a plywood bed, so you're going to have all the stuff right there.
Nick's doing an MDF bed. You could go that route.
Yep, you can go that route too.
You could cut the Rascal out of MDF. You could do the whole thing out of MDF.
Okay.
There's nothing wrong with that. It would be probably just as strong, and you know, it'd be just as usable.
You can also cut it out of aluminum. If you can get access to some aluminum pieces, you can make it out of aluminum.
You could cut it out of aluminum.
Yep. And by the way, boys,
aluminum and put threaded rods on it.
Yep. There's a lot of different ways you can go. And that we were talking about that foam casualties machine. I'm looking at it right here. $3,795 is what it is for the foam casualties machine. They have a nice machine. It's nice.
And to be fair, it does more than the Rascal will do.
Yeah.
That's got a wire cutter on it.
It's got a wire cutter on it.
Okay.
Kevin and I just got into a conversation. What was it, last night? We were talking about wire cutters, Kev?
Yep.
And the shop that I used to work at, the fab shop that I used to work at, we'd cut a lot of foam. And for airplanes, when I would do a foam core wing on an airplane, I would cut the root. I would go ahead and make the root template. I'd make a tip template, and I would just go ahead and cut right on around it by hand. I think you can build a hot wire for like $15. I think if you really want to, with the power supply and the bow and everything. I mean, it's cheap and easy to do. So
yep.
I look at a CNC hot wire. If you're going to produce something repeatable and you're going to do a whole bunch of them, by all means, go ahead and make something like that. But otherwise, why not use your CNC machine to make your root template, your tip template, and go ahead and have a buddy come on over and just go ahead and run a wire over it. If you really want a foam core wing, just as easy.
Yep.
I'm on the X-Carve site right now, Todd.
Oh yeah,
and,
what do we got?
And Venable's X-Carve is $1,600.
There you go. And now, does that include the router?
I don't know that.
I would probably say it doesn't, because that's got a DeWalt router. I think that, or DeWalt-ish.
Spindle and mount, it says.
So it does come with a spindle.
It looks like a DeWalt router. It does.
Okay. Very good.
Which is gonna be crazy loud.
You know what, the DeWalt router. Now I just went to a DeWalt router. The DeWalt router actually it's pretty quiet compared to some of the other ones. I was using a router from Menards. I think I got it on sale for $29. I want to say I was running it for a while. That thing got loud. The bearings got bad. That thing just screeches and make all sorts of noise. But I think that it shows the versatility of the machine, of just a CNC in general, and not so much the Rascal. But the Rascal, we have our own spindle, or well, the China spindle that we have in our parts list there that you can go ahead and use. But if you're going to use a router, I mean, you can use an actual router, your Bosch router, your DeWalt router, whatever you want to wind up using. If you can go ahead and make a holder for it, you're pretty much good to go. You can throw it on there.
You could put a Dremel on it.
Yeah, you can put a Dremel on it. You got a Dremel already laying at home. You don't want to go ahead and spend the money for the spindle. Well, you can go ahead and use your Dremel. It's just cool. The thing is that's going to be on the builder to go ahead and make those parts. And I hope that when they make those parts, that they share them with the community as well. So somebody else out there can go ahead and utilize some of that.
Cool. Yeah, I got a question off of YouTube right now. It says, would there be ways to upgrade the Rascal to have all the fancy features?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
There you go.
Absolutely. We're going to give you the Rascal as a three-axis milling machine without bells and whistles. Now, you want to put homing switches on it? Not a problem. You want to put end stops on it? Not a problem. You want to put a plate to find your Z? Not a problem. You want to get rid of the belts and you want to put threaded rod on it? Not a problem. It's enough of the essential items that you could run the Rascal for a year and decide, you know what, I need a bigger machine. And you could tear the Rascal apart and you could use 70% of the items that we use to put together to build your second machine with.
Nice.
It's going to be the gateway drug of CNC machines.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Absolutely. And the cool thing is too, guys, is you can, after you go ahead, if you decide you're going to go ahead and build the Rascal and you're going to do it all by hand rather than actually purchasing the wood parts, the CNC parts from Kevin or I, if you're going to cut those out by hand, you can go ahead and cut those out, put the thing together, and then CNC your parts out that you want to wind up replacing. Kevin ended up doing that with his Gat machine.
Yeah, I cut them out by hand the first go round.
Nice.
Cut them out with a jigsaw and a circular saw and a drill. Put it all together and got it as square and as true as I could get it, and then cut the second machine out with that machine.
Huh.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
That's the cool thing about this. It really is.
Now it's part of Skynet.
And now it's a part of Skynet. That's right.
Yeah. It chased me the other day. I don't know why.
Turned on for no reason.
Yeah.
So it is a 3-axis machine, so you can actually mill something 3D if you wanted to.
2.5D.
Yeah, 2.5D.
2.5D. Okay.
You can't cut under, right?
Okay.
So if you were to cut a sphere, a ball, you'd have to cut two halves and glue it together.
Gotcha.
Because you couldn't go under it.
Gotcha. Makes sense.
Yeah, you can do quite a bit with it. It's a definitely capable machine, especially for sitting at home in the garage. It's capable.
Honestly, I thought it was just a 2-axis machine. I'm kind of surprised that you actually have that third axis can vertically.
Yeah, I didn't realize that either.
Well, you have to have it because you want to be able to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, your score cuts. Like this is the cub. Here we go. I got more show and tell. You know, I just cut this today. You know, I got a 50% cut in there, so it'll go ahead and it'll pop right up. So you can go ahead and peel all your, take all your scrap away there for your fold lines and everything like that. You can do all that stuff right there. So, and this right here is just like, that's a simple scoring right there. Just so I know when I put the piece that goes on here, the little
It's a reference line.
it's a reference mark is all that it is. And
Cool.
that's one of the nice things about it, about having that about having that Z-axis on there.
Hey, Todd, don't put that down yet. How big of a bit did you use to cut that?
Oh, you know what? I think that's it was that bit that we were using at it's that bit that we were using at Flite Fest. What is that? It's 0.8 of a millimeter or something like that.
Yeah, it's like
a 0.8.
What is 0.8 millimeter?
Right. Exactly. It's small. It's
0.03. Like
Yeah.
30 seconds. 0.03.
Yep, 0.03. There you go.
So, but and there's been some controversy, and I hate to even bring it up, about how a spindle won't cut the things that you want to cut, and on a Darktree foam board airplane, and you can look at what Todd's done there, and it's got the job done. You know what I mean?
It's done everything just fine. The biggest thing I always hear about is when people talk about it cutting into this, like the V coming down. It does pull the paper away when it comes down and goes back up. It'll pull the paper away, but it's on the scrap. Or it's all a matter of process, right? When you go ahead and you program the CNC machine itself, you can say, I want you to cut from the end in. So you're actually cutting into the middle of the V. Once you do that, you're pretty much, you're good to go. You're not going to tear any paper, and it's going to be fine. But, I mean, this is my first go-around with this particular plane, and as far as running it on the CNC machine. And it's perfect. It's perfect. I want to build it. I'm ready to build it.
It's a fun little plane. You'll like it.
It's a great plane.
Yeah, I've been so busy with work, and you guys talk about what you've done in RC in the past week or since last show. I've flown probably this year 5 times. I think probably 4 or 5
you beat
times.
me.
Yeah, I'm beating spots, but it's just busy. Just been so busy with work and everything like that. So that plane has been programmed. I got the plans. What is it? Craig Sigmund? Is that his name, Dan?
Yeah, Sigmund, something like that.
Yeah.
Sorry for ruining your last name, but it's happened to me so many times. You'll get over it.
I'm no better.
Right.
I've talked to him quite a bit, and he already had these things already all done up. The plans already done up because he was using the CNC machine where he works, which is a high school.
At the school district. Yep.
Yeah, he was using the CNC machine there. He just handed me the file. He's like, "Oh, here you go," and he learned how to program it pretty well. I know I talked to him quite a bit on how to program and how to get things done, and he got it done. And he produces some pretty nice planes when he goes ahead and makes a kit. He wants to build something. So he handed me that for the Cub. It was in the spring.
And that in itself is the reason you should build a Rascal, right?
Yeah.
Because I know that once in a while I get on RC groups and I'll look through the different stuff, and you can get into some stuff that's 10, 20 years old, planes that people have built that the plans are there, but no one builds them anymore, right? What if you could create G-code for all those planes and create a library?
Oh, wouldn't that be fantastic?
And you do what Todd did. Say, hey, I need to cut this plane. I don't have to program nothing. Here's the G-code. Everybody's axis is the same. Everybody's y-axis and x-axis and everybody's 0 is the same on every machine because we do it purposely that way. Put the piece of foam in, turn the vacuum table on, turn the machine on, load the program, hit go. Done.
Off and running. What's that website that does all the 3D print?
Thingiverse.
Thingiverse.
Thingiverse. Yeah, we should have a CNC verse.
CNC verse. That just really doesn't roll off the tongue.
It doesn't.
CNC verse.
We're working. It's a work in progress. We're working it out.
Yeah.
Rascalverse.
Rascalverse. Yeah.
There you go.
There you go.
So
perfect.
$475 for a CNC machine. I want to justify that. What does a store-bought plane cost if you were to buy one tomorrow?
Oh, depending on what you get. I mean, most of them go from $129 up to $400 or $500.
How many of those do you have to buy before the Rascal's paid for itself?
One. Honestly, with as many as I have, I could have bought a Rascal 20 times already.
Right.
Yeah. Isn't that the way it goes too? I mean, it seems like you could definitely blow a lot of money into it. The thing is too, this goes beyond your foam airplane. The quadcopters, the tricopters. That was another reason why I wanted to build the CNC tricopter frames. I like messing around with tricopters. I like tricopters, and I like going to the store, paying $3 for a piece of plywood, and then just bringing it home, setting it down on the table, and 15 minutes later, I got all the parts.
And
yeah.
And you know what? You fly it one time, and you go, it needs a square part right here, and you find yourself programming, cutting it, and taking a perfectly good quadcopter that flies just fine, and taking it clear apart and throwing the frame away and putting it on. You get a problem when you buy a Dollar Tree foam board by the case.
Yeah.
When you go to Dollar Tree and you say, "I'd like a fresh box, please," and they go, "What? A whole 25 box? I'd like a whole 25 box, please." And you go, "Okay, what are you gonna do with that?" And you pull your phone out and you say, "All right, look," and you start swiping through the pictures and the videos, and like, "Oh, that's really cool."
That's the other thing I think we should probably talk about too, Kevin, is the foam board. Like the foam from the old Dollar Tree foam board to what the new stuff is, right? And then to the water-resistant foam board. Water-resistant foam board is awesome. That stuff cuts beautifully. What's your spindle speed that you use, Kevin?
5500.
He's cutting at 5500. That cub that I just showed you, I cut that. My slowest speed I have on my DeWalt router is like 10,000 RPM. And it turned out just fine. It turned out beautiful. Now, if I would have done that with the old Dollar Tree foam board, as we talked about before, it would have been all balled up, and it probably would have tore the paper. It would have been probably scrap.
Even mess.
The new Dollar Tree foam board, since they've replaced the paper, they changed the paper on there. All this stuff cuts so much easier. So much easier. So you can go through the time and say that, hey, I want to have a drag knife, or I want to have a laser, or you want to run the needle to go ahead and cut everything in the needle cutter. Those are all great ways of trying to be able to do it, but it's all going to produce the same thing, right? You're gonna get the same thing. The laser cutter, you're just going to go ahead and cut stuff with laser. Then there you go. You want to do a 50% cut? You pull the voltage back a little bit. There you go.
We need to talk about lasers while you're on that subject.
Oh yeah. All right, you go.
Lasers and sharks.
Lasers and sharks. Lasers. That's probably one of the biggest questions that we get is, you guys going to put a laser on it? And it takes quite a bit of power to be able to cut Dollar Tree foam board. It really does. It takes a lot of power. I got a 2.5 watt diode laser that I use just for engraving wood on my CNC machine. It does a beautiful job. I can cut poster board with it, but you're not going to cut Dollar Tree foam board. And I don't know of a diode laser out there that you can just strap onto the machine and cut Dollar Tree foam board. The biggest one I saw was a 12.5 watt. I want to say it was listed on the new laser machine that they have from Open Builds, and it was like $1,200 for a diode laser, and I don't think that would even cut Dollar Tree foam board. So you got to have a CO2 laser. I mean, that's what the FT guys use. They have some big laser cutters that they use for cutting their Dollar Tree foam board. And I'm not, by far, guys, I am not an expert when it comes to the laser. I know that my little 2.5 watt for 80 some bucks, it does not cut Dollar Tree foam board. There's no way. And even when I cut poster board, it's a matter of color. I can't cut white poster board very well. I have to go over it quite a few times, and even then it's got burned edges. If I change the color of the poster board, if I do like a dark blue or a black, I can cut that stuff just fine. And I make a lot of paint templates for my planes with a darker color. But laser is if you're going to pay $80 for a laser and it's actually going to cut your foam, sure, why not? That's worth it. But you can go ahead and pay $80 and put a spindle on it, and you actually will cut your foam like you need to do. You need a lot more to be able to cut Dollar Tree foam board, and you're going to pay a lot more money for a laser for that. So, like I said, I'm no expert. I can only tell you what I've come across, and see the spindle motor is by far, I think, probably the most. It has to be probably the most cost-effective way to be able to mill out your foam for your planes. Yeah.
What's the guy from Mesa RC? What's his name? Somebody help me.
Oh, Jake Marshall.
Yeah.
Jake Marshall. I heard him quote one time, you need 40 watts of laser to cut through Dollar Tree foam board. So, I mean, that's, and everybody, like Todd said, we've had 2 different Rascal posts, and somewhere on both those Rascal posts, people were asking about lasers. Can you put one on the Rascal? Absolutely. Are we going to support it? Probably not. It's too much money.
And that's the thing too. I mean, we're giving the community the machine. Here you go. Here's the design. Here's the build list. Let's go ahead and build it. And let's all work together to go ahead and make this machine, make the machine good. If you guys have improvements and stuff like that, please share it with the community. But if you guys build a plane, please share it with the community. Put it out there for everyone to be able to, work on it and do what we got to do.
And don't get offended when they change your design.
Yes, that's
because it's their plane at that point. When you release something to the community and you give it away for free, it's not yours anymore. Learn that first thing. Don't get upset when somebody shortens your wings or takes your vertical stabilizers off, or the front end that you spent hours designing, they do something different. Don't get upset with that, because everybody's having their own fun doing their own thing.
Yeah. And we're not going to be hurt when the Rascal's out there and somebody changes something on it. Not going to be hurt at all. Please, by all means, we're giving you the base machine. This is what we found that works, and take it from there.
We just ask you to please share.
Yeah, please share it. And, you guys want to fit a laser onto it? Yeah, by all means, share it with the rest of the community. If you can find a way to make that little 5-watt diode laser work and not break the bank trying to be able to buy it and be able to make it work, then share it.
Exactly. And
that's all we ask, is put it out there.
Yeah, we hope all our listeners are actually, really into this and want to do that. I know this community is pretty good about sharing stuff, so I don't think there'll be a problem on that end of it by any means. Oh yeah, I didn't think there was ever going to be an issue with that, but we're all pretty open. As far as the community, so about giving our stuff out and helping other people. That's what it's all about. Yeah, that's one of the best things about this community is the fact that, they share almost everything. Sometimes a little too much. Which, by the way, Pat dropped out on us again because his computer froze up. He'll be back.
I thought he plugged it back in.
He probably turned off the power strip or something.
Probably something along the way. But that's the thing that's here with the Rascals, the flexibility. It is a flexible machine, and it can really go a lot of different ways. Kevin and I both are very excited to see what the community will do with this once it gets out there, and everyone else gets their hands onto it.
Unofficially, November 1st.
November 1st.
unofficially. The please forgive us if it takes us an extra week, but
that's what we're shooting for.
We think we can make it November 1st happen.
Awesome.
So
that's great
it'll be
to hear.
It'll be in time for you to have together before Christmas. It'll be in time for, you know, if you are a 14-year-old and you're getting Christmas money, it'll be in time for that. You know, you want to put one of these together in your basement or whatever. Yeah,
that's awesome.
If you're a 44-year-old and you get Christmas money, or your wife's looking for something to buy you for Christmas, just give her the build list. You know what I mean?
Yep, absolutely. Or a 54-year-old that needs something good for Christmas.
There you go.
Absolutely.
I got one of the guys in my club. He's a sign maker. Him and his wife. They've been cutting stuff out by hand for the longest time. I told him about the Rascal, and he is drooling.
I bet so.
He wants it. He wants it bad because I've done a lot of engraving for him on some of his signs and some of the stuff he's made. Yeah. And let me tell you, he's in awe. Here's the other thing too that's really super cool. Kevin, how many times do you start your machine and just stand there and watch it work?
All the time.
I do it all the time. I'll sit there, I'll drink, watch, sit there and go. I mean, it's just it is a lot of fun. It really is.
And a lot of times it's because I know I programmed this curve or this line, right? And you can see it on a computer, but what's it look like in reality? Mm-hmm. And then you watch it happen in front and you go, that's pretty cool. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh yeah, well, that's cool.
To be able to take something from the computer screen, again, I will reference Dan's little Rascal logo here. To be able to take something from the computer screen where it's like we're all like, yeah, this is awesome. You know, today when I went ahead and I made this thing, I mean, it was just like I got it in my hand and I was like, that is just the coolest thing. I was still grinning like a fool. I shared it on our little group. I'm like, hey, Dan, look what I got.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I mean, that got modeled up on Friday afternoon.
How many miles away do you guys live from each other?
I'm in Michigan. What are you? You got to be what? Probably 800 miles away.
You're in Michigan. I'm in Wisconsin. So
Wisconsin.
I suppose if you go around the lake, maybe not.
Yeah.
800 though.
Okay. But if you so 500 miles by the way the crow flies.
Right.
So in 3 days, 500 miles apart, one guy had an idea, another guy built it 500 miles away.
Yep.
That's pretty awesome.
That's right. That's the best thing about this. That it really is the best thing about this. Whether it's, you know, hey, here's the G code, or whether, hey, here's the plan for it, or here's the idea for it. And be able to take it and turn it actually into something physical is a huge thing. And of course, we're all used to that now because of 3D printing.
Right.
But you know, try to 3D print that. I don't know if that'll fit on a 3D printer bed.
It depends on the printer that you have. Some of them will, but you're going to pay quite a bit of money.
Yeah, I was going to say, you're going to spend more than $475.
Right. That printer is going to cost more than the Rascal is going to cost just to get the printer to print that out.
Yep. Yeah. So
that's a good point, though, too. I mean, 3D printers are also part of, you know, growing part of this hobby now, too.
Yes.
I mean, I bought a really cheap Chinese knockoff 3D printer, you know, almost 8 months ago now. So I'm thinking, you know, if you can put together a DIY 3D printer kit, you can put together a CNC machine. And I didn't have any real experience with building machines before I got my 3D printer. And that was, it was a really fun and rewarding experience. And I'm really glad that I did it. So now I, you know, building off that confidence, I'm pretty comfortable with diving into building the CNC machine.
Yeah, my 3D printer was secondary to my CNC. My CNC was my first project of that. I always, ever since I started building model airplanes when I was a kid, I always make sure that I have some sort of a winter project, a decent sized winter project. And I went from an airplane I was really looking at, I wanted to get a decathlon. And I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to pass on the decathlon and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to build the Ox CNC machine. And man, I am thankful every time I sit down and use that thing. I'm thankful that I did that because it's just so rewarding to have. It's awesome. It's great. It's a great tool. It's awesome.
That's fantastic.
It is.
So what else? that you guys got going on? Anything that you can talk about?
I don't have too much going on. I'm starting a new job tomorrow.
Oh, I saw that.
Yep. It was kind of took a few months to get into this place, but I got in and I'm excited. I should have more time. I shouldn't be working 60 hours a week. I should only be working 40 hours a week, and I don't have to drive an hour and a half to get to work. I can just
you're like
5
what,
minutes from my doorstep.
5 minutes now?
Yep, 5 minutes from my doorstep. I'm looking forward to it. That's for sure.
If anybody in the Sarasota, Tampa, Naples area is looking for an industrial coal miner, I'll be looking for a job here in 6 months in that area.
There you go.
It's probably not a lot of call for that in Florida, but
yeah, it's kind of tough digging down there.
You gotta have scuba gear, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
The old underwater thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, as far as the CNC is just, I think once people get it and they get it in their hands, I think they see how it actually works. And once they understand it, I think that there's gonna be all sorts of crazy ideas. I'm sitting here, I'm looking at your wall back behind you. You got those Harley signs hanging up. And
oh yeah, absolutely.
The flames. I look at that stuff and I'm like, dude, I made a Harley sign just like that not too long ago, and I made it for a buddy of mine, and he's got it in his garage. He loves it.
I've got one that's kind of hidden back there. Hang on just a minute. Let me grab it because I want to. Actually, this was made on a. It's actually a plasma cutter, but it's a computer-driven plasma cutter. Hang on a minute. You got to see this thing.
Yeah. He's got a nice little wall of fun back there. I see.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that. That's something else that you and I were talking about too, Kevin, was the plasma cutter.
On Rascal?
Well, not on a Rascal. That's
Rascal's made out of wood.
Yeah, I know. Get the fire extinguisher out.
Right?
You're going to be all good.
And of course, I got to be careful with it because it will stab you to death. But this thing here actually is it's the flames on the tank of my Harley.
Okay.
And I gave the guy a picture, and he uploaded it into his computer, and of course, did a little bit of work, and then he cut it out on a plasma cutter.
That is so cool.
And powder coated it, and I mean, it's gorgeous, and it's the exact flame job that's on the side of my Harley that I have right now.
When you get a Rascal, you can cut that out of acrylic and then light it up with some LEDs.
Absolutely, I'll light it up blue because my my Harley's silver and blue. So,
yep,
yeah,
oh yeah.
But
that's something else. That's something else I've done too. I've done a lot of lit signs. I think I posted those probably on my Facebook a while back. You guys may recall. Mm-hmm. I did some of that stuff, and that's a fun project to get into too. Have nice little lit LED signs.
Oh, absolutely, and I could see you making it out of all kinds of stuff.
Oh yeah. Oh look, Patrick's back.
Hey, Patrick finally made it
back. That was quite an adventure there.
Hey, at least you made it back, though.
Yeah, I had no idea what's going on with this thing. It's time to start doing this on a different computer, I think.
Hey, you got yourself a nice new CNC computer right there, then.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, I've got a couple of those laying around. Don't you worry.
Oh, good. You're halfway there already.
That's right. Now, there was some talk about to totally change directions here. The serial versus USB thing. Not that I really understand that fully, but what's that all about?
We don't know. Never heard of it.
No. Never heard of it.
No idea what you're talking about.
A lot of computers don't have the old printer port, the old serial port. Everything's gone to USB for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
So it depends on the controller that you're going to use. If it's going to be a Arduino-based controller, you're going to be using your USB port, and you're going to be using the Gerbil programming code, or the Gerbil standard board or whatever they go. And that's where I started. I started off with the Gerbil stuff, and I very quickly I had a lot of problems with it. It was hassles. It was a lot of hassles, and I switched over to using Mach 3, which is software, controller software. Mach 3, it runs really good. It's very, very stable, and it does exactly what you want it to do. Where if you use Gerbil, you're gonna fight with it a little bit. It takes a little bit of a learning curve with it.
That being said, we'll be using Gerbil on the Rascal.
We are going to be using yes, no, and I don't mean to take away from Gerbil, because Gerbil has its place. It really, really does. It has its place, and it is cost effective, and for everyone to be able to hook it up to their newer computers and use the USB port, we're going to have to go ahead and use the Gerbil side of things.
CNC milling has been around for 30, 40 years.
Mm-hmm.
And 30, 40 years ago, the computer that you would buy would be a Windows XP machine with a LTP1 port, a parallel port on the back of it.
Mm-hmm.
The old, for everybody that's over 30, it's the old printer ports, the old wide 24-pin printer port.
Mm-hmm.
Well, all the CNC controller cards are designed around that back in that day. And it's like everything, not like anything else, they stuck with it because it worked. And they still continue to produce those cards today. You can buy a brand new one every day of the week with a parallel port on it. Mach 3, as Todd was talking about, is a program that you can use the demo for free, and I can't remember how many lines you can cut for free. Todd, is it 200 lines?
I think it's like 200 lines, 250 lines, or something like that.
For the demo version. More than that, and you got to buy the license. I think the license is $170, $175 for the license for that. Which in itself makes the cheapest CNC machine you can build cost ineffective, because you're already adding $175 for the software. Okay. On top of that, the driver card that we would have recommended would have been $55. And then you would have had to have come up with a computer probably has Windows XP on it and a parallel port. Now, the one that I've got running my machine with, I rescued out of the dumpster at work. And I blew it out and formatted the drive and put Windows XP back on it, and that's all that computer does is run a CNC machine.
Well, I've got one in my basement here that will do that just nicely.
You don't need a lot of horsepower for CNC. It's real low. It doesn't use a lot of computing power. But we recognize that those machines are hard to get. You have one in your basement, but a 14-year-old is going to be hard to come across one of those.
Right.
You know what I mean? So we went the Arduino-based controller. It's a CNC shield we're going to use. It's 3-axis. It has 4 drivers on it. You can buy that card every day of the week for $12.
Okay.
That we're going to use Universal G. Unless we find a better alternative, we're going to find Universal G code sender for the software that pushes the code to the controller.
Okay, cool.
The other standard that people like to use, or the other program that other people like to use, is web-based. It's called Chili Pepper. It works pretty good. The problem that I had with it is I'm in my garage and I don't have it hooked up to my computer, so I can't really use Chili Pepper. And that was a while ago. I don't know if they have an offline version of it now or not. I don't know, but
what you get at, you had to be hooked to the internet to use it.
Yeah, exactly.
And you'd have an internet connection in your garage.
Yep. And at the time, I didn't have Wi-Fi in the house, so I was quite happy, just using Universal G Code Sender, put it on my laptop, and basically go with it. So, but the Gerbil controller boards, or the Gerbil CNC boards, the Shield, they're all capable, and there's a lot of different types of boards that are out there. Sparks Concepts and Open Builds use a board called X Pro. That's what I went with when I first started, and that thing ran. It ran very well. It did what it needed to do. For anybody that's ever seen any of the videos that I posted on my YouTube channel, that's all stuff with the X Pro. For the first running of my machine, once I got it running, it was good, and then I just decided after talking to Kevin, I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna switch over to Mach, and I'm gonna go ahead and give that a whirl, and I'm not looking back. I guess I could say I'm not looking back. But for the Rascal, I think that the Gerbil board and the Shield is, I think it's a perfect match. I really do. I think it's a perfect match.
Cool. Awesome. So there's no worry about computer issues. It will hook into anybody's laptop or whatever.
Yep.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yes.
Windows-
I was.
I don't know about Apple. I'm not sure how that works with Apple.
Sorry, Mike.
I'm pretty sure any Windows-based machine. But
Okay.
Yeah.
maybe somebody out there that has more experience with Arduino cards can answer that question.
I've got a desktop and 2 laptops that run Windows. I'm good.
All right. Rocking and rolling. The other thing I'm curious about, and I'm wondering if as this winds up growing too with the CNC machine with the Rascal, and I know my buddy's shop does this all the time. They have a 3D printer and they use Raspberry Pi, and they go ahead and they Bluetooth right to it or Wi-Fi right to it, and they send their jobs right to it. And there's a queue for the 3D printer, and they just go ahead and keep rattling stuff off. I'm wondering if something like that could be done with the CNC.
I actually saw my Uno board yesterday. It had a Wi-Fi card built into it.
Really? See, that's what I'm talking about right there. I want to see where this goes. I'm excited.
Yeah, it sounds like it ought to be fun. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say I am definitely excited for it. Even more so after talking with you guys. I was excited before. I'm really excited now.
Yeah, I got a question off of YouTube. Says, what are some of the things to avoid or some of the common newbie mistakes with the Rascal? What do you think?
Don't put your hands near the spindle.
That's a good one.
Yep. That's about it. Build straight. Try to build as straight as you can. I mean, that's probably about it. Take the extra time to make sure stuff is square.
The first thing you need to buy is a square.
Yep.
Yeah. Yep. I can't say that enough.
A
So
level and a square, I would say, would be probably the 2 most important things you could have, right?
I'm sure we will address this in the build. I'm sure Nick will address this in the build. But one of the problems we came up with in building the prototype of the Rascal is when you buy these aluminum extruded rails from Open Builds, they're not cut square. They just lop them off with a chop saw, and they're square-ish. So when you put this thing together, your axis is not square, so you literally have to find a way to square it up. And we're picking our brains trying to, how do you do that? Well, there's a bunch of different ways you can do it if you've got the expensive hardware and machinery to do it with. What we finally came up with was emery cloth on a piece of wood and just sand that angle until it's square. And you literally have to bolt it up to the machine and check it. Unbolt it, sand it, put it back on the machine, check it, take it off, sand it. It's not a horrible lengthy process, but it does take some time and it takes a little bit of patience. But once you get past that hurdle, that's the hardest part of putting the thing together. Everything else is just an erector set. You know what I mean?
Yep.
It's just bolt here, nut there, washer here. You know what I mean? Move on. Bolt here, nut here, washer there. Bolt part B to assembly C. You know what I mean? It's not like it's the build all go pretty easy, I think.
Awesome.
Nothing is overcomplicated. So you said some of the specs. We're using NEMA 23s at 176 ounces, Todd? Is that what they were?
176 ounces of torque, yep.
The Z-axis is a NEMA 17 with 84 ounces of torque. And the reason that it's a smaller motor is because the gear ratio is different on the Z, and we don't need that big motor there.
Okay.
But it should cut. I haven't done it yet, but it should cut plywood.
Ooh.
So.
Nice.
Yep.
Hence
so
the.
Tell your wife. So tell your wife those really fancy curtain boxes she wanted to put around there in the living room, you could build for her now with a CNC machine.
Nice.
So she's on board.
There you go.
You'd be amazed
Well,
at what
guys,
other uses
it's
have.
what do you guys have a date when this thing's going to be done?
You were gone. November 1st.
Sorry. I know what I'm ordering for my birthday. Parts.
Christmas 2020. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, November 1st is our launch date.
Awesome.
Like I said, that's a soft date. Forgive us if we're beyond that, but in the foreseeable future, it looks pretty easy to hit November 1st. So.
Okay, gotcha.
That should be something that works by then.
Well,
Fantastic.
Kevin or Todd, one of you guys has to get to work, don't you?
I do. I have to go to midnight shift here shortly.
Okay. So, I think we'll go ahead and start wrapping it up now. Unless you guys, if you guys have anything else you want to add in, please feel free.
Yeah, if there's something you guys want to say about what you got going on, or any last words you want to give, I'd say go ahead and do that now, and we'll wrap up so you guys can get prepared for whatever you got next.
I got dinner sitting there on the counter. That's all that I have next. Otherwise, guys, I appreciate you having us on and letting us talk about our stuff. So,
absolutely, thank you for letting us come on and talk about our nonsense, our buffoonery for.
No, this is not nonsense, man. This is
good stuff, man.
This is great stuff.
And
outside of that,
got to apologize too for the time it's taken to get this thing out. I know Kevin's been busy. I've been busy, and it's been quite a good thing to have Dan hop on and Nick coming on too to help get this stuff all together. I think we got a really good thing for you guys coming up. So
yeah, Nick and I just kept pestering Kevin and Todd enough to try and get them going on this thing that they just said, well, fine, you keep pestering us, where you're going to have to help us out then.
Can we shut these guys up already, for crying out loud?
Yeah, and that's what it was too. He's not screwing around. When's the Rascal coming out?
All right, I'll build it, for crying out loud. Jeez, just leave me alone.
I know it has been. I know for Kevin and I both. I know it's been a challenge to get this stuff together and get it out between work and life.
This is actually version 2 of the Rascal.
Yes.
Not many people know that. The first version was actually something else. That would have worked, but would have been harder to build. Would have definitely been harder to build.
There is an excellent question out there right now that I was going to hop on, but since they're already talking about it, so where can everybody find out more? Where is the best place to go to find out when it's coming out, what's going on, all that kind of stuff?
There is no such place right now.
Well, is there going to be, and where?
Well,
then I'll have a suggestion for you.
We need Nick here really bad.
Well, I have a feeling a great place, to start would probably be out at the Flite Test forums.
Yeah, there'll be a forum. I'm sure there'll be a forum post popping up on that. But I can also, Facebook group, I would imagine is going to be coming up here, just to go and get the information out there so people can hop in on that. But there'll be posts on Flite Test themselves on their Facebook.
Because I do plan on doing an article, putting it on Flite.
Perfect.
Flite Test articles.
Yeah.
When we're ready to release, there'll be an article, and all the videos will be listed, and they'll be easy to get to. And I think Nick has got some. I don't want to speak out of turn for Nick, but he had mentioned something about he has a spot on nerdnick.com already dedicated. Dedicated for Rascal.
Good.
As far as resources and stuff like that. So.
Yeah, and I'll offer up right now that we can at least put a link or two out on our website once you guys get it going, to ship it out, to link it over to wherever you guys end up. So
yeah, and that's the thing. We've been so focused on getting the thing done, we haven't. We're like, oh yeah, we should. How are we gonna get this to people? So
sometime we still have time to build ours. I don't know how that works.
Yeah, sometime, maybe. But we'll in the upcoming months here, we'll have a place for information to go out and for people to be able to share some info. So,
Well,
but yes, the best places to start will probably be the FT forums.
okay, good. And once you guys do find out, and we find out it's released, we'll make sure that we pimp you guys on our podcast as well. So, and we'll do that. We'll do that. No charge, no nothing. Other than maybe cutting the part out once in a while until we get ours.
No. It's all about the technical service. It's all about.
There you go.
No, with that being said, I think I speak for Todd that we are available to help people with their problems. That being said, remember that we have lives and families and jobs, and we're not at your beck and call every minute of every day, but we'd be more than happy to help you the best we can, as often and as available as we can.
Sure.
Absolutely.
And we've decided, a long time ago that we're going to say that, here's the Rascal, and we're happy to help you with the Rascal and put it together. And anything you do outside the Rascal, we're more than happy to give you our opinion, or if we can help you figure it out, we may do that, but don't put a Rascal together and decide you want to put a 40-watt laser on it and expect me to tell you how to hook it up. I don't know how to hook it up.
But if you figure out how to hook it up, let everybody else know so they know how to do it as well.
Right, exactly. No, but like I said, there'll be videos about programming in G code and how to set the machine up and how to use the machine. Is probably a couple big videos. You know what I mean? And outside of us, there's a lot of videos on YouTube about CNC. One of the programs that we just ran into, I got forced into, was Fusion 360. That is the Dan could probably speak on that a little more. But basically, that's Autodesk's new development. They have it's, I don't know, correct me, Dan, is it an online thing? Because you can use it.
It kind of is.
But it's kind of connected.
You download and install the software on your machine, but it's hosted on the cloud, so all your files and stuff are stored in the cloud. But it really is kind of a next generation 3D CAD modeling program and more, because as Kevin can attest, he's already starting to do some of his CNC programming directly from models in Fusion 360. So it also has CAM capabilities. There's analysis capabilities. There's all kinds of stuff in Fusion that you can do, and people are starting to migrate to it for 3D printing as well. So I use it to model for 3D printing and to be modeling some of the components for the Rascal in there and whatnot. But it's free for startup and hobby use too, so that's another added benefit for the people that are trying to watch their pennies as well.
Mm-hmm. But it's a very powerful tool. In fact, it's overwhelming. It's so powerful. It has. I'm still learning it. I'm no professional by any means, but what I've used already, I can tell that it's going to be very useful, and I still have to do quite a bit of learning to get up to speed with it.
Yep.
That being said, I still think that SketchUp and Sketchy Cam is the best airplane CAD device right now, because
I don't know that I would go out and recommend trying to learn Fusion to do foam board model airplane design. Can you do it? Probably. Is it going to be the easiest tool to use for that? Probably not.
We touched on Todd touched on Flat Boys once before. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the Flat Boys projects.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've heard of them.
I don't know how long ago this went on, but at some point, some people decided they were going to do what we're doing. They were going to create a CNC machine to cut foam airplanes out with and sell it to the public. It was more like a vinyl cutter. It literally sucked the foam in and cut it and extracted it out. The gantry didn't move. It was a fixed gantry, and it literally moved the material back and forth to cut the foam. And that was a Flat Boys project. They came up with their own software to create the G code for that. And at the time, it was very limited. Well, over time, it grew and grew and grew and became, had more flexibility and more usefulness to it. And then I'm really not sure the transition, but a fella, he's in South Africa, I think, actually took over the project. And it's called Sketchy Cam. And it's a free plugin for SketchUp. But it comes from the roots of foam airplanes. It's designed to cut out foam airplanes. So when you cut, 50% squirt cuts, and you cut inside circles and outside circles, it's as simple as, all right, make this line a 50% squirt cut. Make this line a 100% squirt cut. It's that simple. It's really easy to use. It works really, really well. I've been using it for a couple years now, and it's free. And he upgrades it. He updates it frequently. Probably every 6 to 8 months, he updates it. So, yeah, you have to get it. You have to go on the Fat Boys forum and register there. And they don't send you spam mail or junk mail. There's no, hidden hooks or anything like that to it. They just, for whatever reason, they want you to register with them, and you download the software and you use it. That being said, there's more than one way to skin a cat. I know some of them. I think what are the mostly printed guys using easel, Todd?
Yeah, they use easel. Yeah,
they're using easel, and I don't know anything about easel. I never even opened it other than I know that they're using that. I think it's not Xcarv's program, is it?
Yeah, I think that's the Xcarv program they use quite a bit is easel.
I think it's the Xcarv program, and it's a free download also, and maybe you want to go that route. There, like I said, there's more and more ways to skin a cat, and we keep saying it. We're actually anxious to see where this goes. A year from now, we want to say, "Wow, look at that!" Look what this has bloomed into. So,
I think you're going to see that. I really do.
Too. I hope so too. And if I can contribute anything, absolutely I will, because I am planning on trying to build one of these suckers. So, and I'm really excited about it.
Well, we're definitely going to be looking for people to help us along the way. Essentially, that's what it's a pyramid scheme, right? You buy into it, and eventually someone buys it off of you, right? So, it's 2 o'clock in the morning and somebody posts on Facebook, "Hey, I can't find my zero, whatever. I'm not there, Todd's not there, Dan's not there, but you happen to pick it up, and you can help him, Hopefully, and the way the community already is with everything else, I don't foresee that being a problem. I really think that's going to be more people helping more people until there's a plethora of people to help people. What I mean?
I definitely see that happening. I mean, the way this community is and the way it expands and grows constantly, I see that help being there very quickly for you guys, and I'm really excited to see just how quickly it explodes, because I think it will.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, I agree.
I'm ready. I'm hoping so.
All right.
I think so, man. I think you guys got a good thing going, and I'm excited for you guys and for the community as well, because like I said, I know how this community is, and you guys have been part of that community for a long time. So, and you got a heck of a team. You got Dan Spawn's holes.
Wow.
And you got Nerd Nick too.
That's never gonna go away.
Hey,
no, it's never gonna go away, dude.
Go big or stay
I
home.
take
That's
credit.
what I say.
Yeah, that's all Pat's doing, but you got Nerd Nick as well,
Yeah.
and I think you guys are just gonna tear it up, and I think in a year's time you're gonna be surprised. People are probably gonna teach you a lot about it.
I hope so.
I really do. I hope so too. Yeah.
I hope I am schooled at the end of this. I really do.
I'm just looking forward to not having to print out any of my own plans anymore and tape them together.
Yeah, you and Keegan both.
Right.
So,
All right,
nice.
guys. Well,
we
thank
might
you
actually
so
be able to
much
get the intruder out there, Dan.
Hey, now.
Oh,
We might be able to get the
That is
intruder.
also something I'm planning on getting out this winter.
yeah,
Fantastic.
fantastic.
Hopefully the Rascal will help.
Yes, yep. It'll definitely help with the iterations of prototypes for sure.
That's the reason I built the Raiden the way I did. I would never be able to do it without having the CNC machine.
Yep.
All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for being on. I'm really, really excited for this, and I am excited to get my parts list and start piecing this thing together. So please, get to work, for God's sakes. It's been long enough.
Slave driver, you.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. That's it. That'll learn him.
Oh, get to
That'll
work.
teach him.
Speaking about
That'll
working.
teach him. Yep, get to work. I'm out.
He didn't want a response to that at all.
That'll learn him.
Okay, well, I
Right
guess
there.
I'll wrap this up for Pat since he's already gone. I'm sure he'll try to come back in. But guys, thanks so much. I know the community is going to thank you for everything that you guys are doing, and please let us know when this thing comes out, so we, you know, and give us all the links and everything, because we'll make sure to put it out there, and we'll plug you. You know, we'll probably plug you 2 or 3 times, you know, throughout our podcasts once it's out, so we can try to push it and get some Christmas stuff going on for you guys. So
Very nice. Very nice.
yeah, absolutely, man.
Please, if you're going to build a Rascal, share pictures. We'd like to see what you're doing. We would like to see ideas. You know, if you've got a better way to skin a cat, we'd love to hear it. If you find build materials cheaper somewhere else, we'd love to hear it. Share it with the community. I'd love to see us knock $40 or $50 off the price of this thing at the end of it. I really would.
Yep.
We'd love to see you paint it. You know, the parts are wooden. By all means, throw some paint on the thing. We'd love to see what colors you do, and you know, what you do with the wiring, and you know, because this community is so vast and so broad now. There are so many people from different facets of life that have different skills or have access to different things. That's the part we're excited about. See where it goes. So please post frequent, post often. You know, show us what you're doing, and once you got it built, show us what you're building. You know, show us the airplane you cut out. Hey, look, I designed it. You know, an Aardvark 2. You know, show us. Share. We want everybody to share.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well
And,
said.
guys, thank you to all 4 of you guys involved for putting in all of the hard work that you had to simply bring this to people like us. I mean, it says so much about you guys and a lot about the community that you're doing it for. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you.
No, thank you.
No, thank you.
Thank you.
Docker.
No, I insist.
Okay, guys. Well, again, thanks for coming on. Dan, Kevin, Todd, Pat, great seeing you. And sorry we missed Joel. To everyone, be safe out there, and blue skies. Take care. Flight Test Community Podcast. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Good night, everybody.